Hey guys, welcome to this Nomadic Idea show where we discuss the uncensored truth about life on the road, full-time travel. Whether you are an RVer, van lifer, schoolie, it doesn't make any difference. If you're thinking about getting into this lifestyle, this show is for you. We are Scot and Ariane from This Nomadic Idea. We stream this show every Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel, This Nomadic Idea. And you can catch the audio version of this show, always different, on thisnomadicidea.com. This is episode 23. We have a special guest coming in on the show because today we're talking about passive income as a full-time traveler. Is digital nomad, what does that mean? Everyone uses that and they overuse that term. So we're going to talk about that and kind of redefine that. And we're also going to ask the question, is YouTube a full-time business? So we're going to talk about that. We have some ideas and we have some comments and some questions about that. We would love to hear your view on, is YouTube a financial business and a viable financial business when you are traveling full-time on the road. We also talk about different ways to make some money on the road, and we really get into just how hard it is for people that are thinking about this lifestyle to make money on the road with passive income. So you do not want to miss this. Here we go. It's all about passive income on the road.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Shall we begin? Let's begin. Shall we begin?
Okay, so what is a digital nomad? I hear this all the time, and I have to say, it kind of, I don't like it. I think it's the biggest overused phrase out there in the full-time lifestyle. You're a digital nomad. How to become a digital nomad? I'm going to give you 5 ways to become a digital nomad. Well, here's the thing. It's all digital, man. I mean, it's all digital. Maybe 10 years ago, as a full-time traveler who was trekking across Europe, who was travel blogging on the beach, yeah, as a travel blogger, you were a digital nomad. But now, internet's everywhere. You can go to Starbucks. Hell, I can go to my grocery store and I can blog in the fruit section, right? I mean, that's not really quite the digital nomad life, but internet and technology and data is everywhere. It's readily available, and with different cell plans and MoFi and hotspots, I don't think it's really a digital nomad world anymore. I think with all of the full-time RVers, all the full-time vanners and schoolies on the road, man, it's a full-time life on the road nomad. Digital nomad is kind of a given word, right? So I think we've entered into a whole new era of full-time travel on the road. And how are you going to make passive income doing it? Everyone's a digital nomad now. Everyone is. There's over 9 million people on the road, and it's growing. The RV industry has said and predicted the RV growth in this country is growing exponentially. Of course, that's why the corporate, that's why the corporate world's getting into it. And they certainly don't look at you as a digital nomad. They look at you as part of the digital workforce. They look at you as people with expendable income that wants to buy their product. Hardly a digital nomad point of view. So we're going to talk a little bit about not so much different ways to make money on the road. Man, there's so many videos on that, and there's so many different podcasts on that. We're not going to go into that. But instead, we want to share with you some of the mistakes that we've seen RVers make, nomads make, that we've experienced ourselves. We're also going to talk about just how hard it is to make income or make passive income on the road in a niche that's not really a niche anymore, right? We're also going to bring in a special guest. Can't wait for you guys to talk to her and meet her. She is great. She's got more energy than any person I've ever known. But she started a YouTube channel. We're going to talk about how hard it is for her to get that channel going, how long it's taken her to get that going. And is YouTube a business? Is it a viable business now in 2022 for you to make passive income? And is it even a business? So we're going to talk about that also. So one of the things that we have seen in, we've seen mistakes that people have made is that people are under the impression that they're going to hit the road and they're going to tell their story, and their story is going to be interesting enough for people to engage and for them to make money at. Whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, there's a ton of social media platforms out there that kind of monetize a little bit. But in reality, what was a niche market maybe 7 years ago, 10 years ago, it's not so niche anymore. And for expectations of people going out into this lifestyle and living full-time on the road and saying, hey, I'm going to make, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month making YouTube videos. Well, you may be living under a false sense of security, and we're going to kind of delve into that a little bit better with our special guest. But it's not easy to do. And so some of the mistakes that we've seen are people that come out into this lifestyle. Now, our last show, we talked about having a savings plan and having money in the bank before you come out here. And so what happens is people have these high expectations that they are going to bring passive income in, and it just doesn't happen. And, they start pooling money out of their savings. The next thing you know, they're off the road. And the one thing I want to stress more than anything else is that passive income for you should be income that you own, that you have control over. And so as a tip of somebody who has been doing passive income for a long time, I've had several businesses, I can tell you, you want to own that income. And when I mean own it, I mean you want to have control over how you make it and who's paying you to create it. So there's a lot of different ways to make passive income on the road, and we're not going to list all of them. Affiliate marketing, sales marketing, all kinds of things. But I see more and more people now on the road that have specialty jobs that are working full time while on the road. They have jobs: computer programmer, mechanical engineer, data specialist. My friend and his girlfriend, they work full time on the road for a company, and so data is really important for them. They have to have good internet, and so are they limited to where they can camp on BLM land? Yeah, they are. And they don't even really spend any time at RV parks, but they do strategically have to pick where their data is coming from and how good that data is. But he works full time. He works 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon like a regular job. He just gets to look out the window at the mountains while he's doing it, right? So income now and, traveling full time on the road is a little bit different than it was even 10 years ago with technology the way it is now. But I think people think that they're just going to come out there and they're going to be a YouTube celebrity, or they're going to, sell all this affiliate marketing, and they're going to make all this money. But in today's world, you better have a very unique story, and you better treat it like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get paid like a hobby. If you're going to go at your brand, and sometimes you are the brand, you better be prepared to put in 50 hours a week on the road working your business. And so we see a lot of the, oh my God, I didn't know I had to work so hard to make income on the road. Well, it's no different. If you start a business in your hometown in sticks and bricks, you have to work really hard. That is no different than going on the road and traveling full time. You got to work just as hard to bring in that income if you want to bring in income to support your lifestyle. Again, it's your lifestyle. Some people can get away with, making, $1,200 a month, maybe $2,400 a month. Maybe your lifestyle demands you need to make $5,000 a month or more. Well, if you're going to go into this lifestyle and say, I'm going to passively make that income by doing, whether it's YouTube videos or podcasts or whatever, you may be very unhappy. On the audio version of this show, on our podcast, we share how much money we make a year, how we make it, what we do to make it. And so if you want to get a sample of how we do it, you can go catch the audio version of episode 23 on thisnomadicidea.com. We also hear quite a bit that YouTube is a business. Now, I have a strong disagreement with that. That doesn't mean I'm right. That doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means I disagree with the idea that YouTube in itself, and as a video content creator, it's a business. Let me share the difference. If you have, 100,000, 200, 300,000 subscribers, and your content is about a business, then I can meet your argument as to say it's not YouTube that's a business. It's your business that's using YouTube as a marketing engine for your business, right? Because if YouTube cuts you out, the question you have to ask yourself, do you still have a business? If you don't, then I would not put all my eggs in one basket. If you say, well, yeah, that would hurt my business, I would have to figure out another way to market that product or that service, then I would say you still have a business, but use different avenues for your marketing material for that business. Again, YouTube and your channel is not the business. It's the brand and your business that uses YouTube as a part of your marketing strategy. It's kind of like the pie, right? Your pie is the business. YouTube, social media, and whatever marketing materials you use, they're all slices of the pie that make up the whole pie. So, you would never build a homestead and lease that land in property that's zoned commercial because you know what's going to happen. You're going to get a knock on the door and say, hey, thanks for giving us all that money, but you got to go. And so you've lost everything. So you're kind of leasing social media. Think of social media as the property you're leasing or you're renting, you don't really own. So for content creators, there's a lot of different ways to create content. I would own that content, and I would have a domain name and a website that you push all that content to, just in case you get kicked off a platform. Now, we've never heard of anybody being kicked off a platform lately, right? Yeah. So own the content, own your product, have one place where people can go just in case that happens, and that's the business. So you can argue back and forth. I'd love to hear your comments below on whether YouTube is a business. What do you think? Again, no right or wrong. It's just opinions on maybe your experience or someone else's experience on whether YouTube is a business and whether it's a good idea to put all those eggs in one basket. Personally, I don't think it is. So, I would just say this: passive income is going to be the fruits of your labor. It's going to be as much as you want to put in. And you've got to plant seeds early on to grow the fruits of your labor. And it doesn't happen overnight. If you are thinking about creating passive income as a full-time traveler or as someone who lives on the road full-time, don't wait until the day you hitch up your rig or You know, you finally renovated your schoolie and say, let's go. I'm going to experience the world. I'm going to sell my story to everybody. So they're all going to come in. I'm going to be a big shot, celebrity, blah, blah, blah. I would not plan for that at all. Instead, I would have a strategic plan on what you want to present to the RV community, to the schoolie community, to the van life community. And I would always plan whatever you're going to sell, whether it's product or service, I would always plan that out as a service to your community, as you want to give to your community on what that means. Because I can tell you, it is strategic, it takes a lot of work, and sometimes it just takes a lot longer than you ever thought it would take. So let's bring in Randy from Randy's Adventures. She's got a great YouTube channel. I love her to death. She's a really good friend of mine, and I don't know of anyone who has worked harder on creating content for her weekend warrior RVer family than Randy. She goes camping in winter, and she's got a terrific YouTube channel, but I know Randy hasn't always come easy. Now, I met Randy with the RV Odd Couple and some other RV YouTubers at a small RV YouTube summit. And so the RV Odd Couple came in. Randy was just getting started, but she has worked harder than anybody I know. So let's bring in Randy and ask her just how hard her channel has been and how hard is it to work and keep creating content. Well, thank you so much, Randy, for coming in on the show and talking a little bit about your experience with, passive income and kind of building a brand, and specifically, being a video content creator, because you have an interesting story, and I think it's worth noting because of what you do and how you do it, and really how you started with the whole video content creating, really passive income. So I guess the first question I would have for you, and for people that are listening and are watching, are you crazy? What made you decide to start making videos, and like how, how's that working out? Like, when did you start? How long have you been doing it?
Yeah, I do think I'm crazy sometimes, Scott, that's for sure. When I started uploading YouTube videos, I did it right after we had bought our small little camper, the Little Guy Max. And I started uploading just as a way personally for me to document some of my campgrounds and some of the journeys and the experiences that I've had. And I had no clue what I was getting myself into, but it's been quite a journey and I've learned a lot.
And how long has your channel been around?
About 3.5 years.
Okay, 3.5.
The first 1.5 I'd say was about my adventures and that type of thing, but something happened. And that is, I realized that this is a lot of work. And as well as that happening, a community started to develop. And that's when I really started to take it seriously and look at it from a branding perspective, as well as the light bulb went out, or what went off, that maybe I could actually make some income from the channel as well. Because that was something that was never, ever on my radar when I first started this.
So how long has Randy's Adventures then been a brand?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I originally thought that if I got a logo, I put my logo on my videos, I had a brand, right? But I was wrong. I took a class in the beginning of this year, and part of that class talked about branding. And that was a big eye-opener for me, because I wasn't branding and I thought I had been. I learned that a brand is more than just a logo. I need to have a creed. I need to have something that I believe in. You've got your believers and your non-believers. I had to stand for something. So that was a big pivotal turning point for me as a YouTube creator, and how I move forward. And I'm still learning as I go, but the videos now that I produce, I want to focus around a central belief, and that belief is about going out and making big memories in small campers. And that it's one of those things, the more you know, the more challenging it can be, because now I'm trying to make the videos, but also incorporate some of the branding elements into my videos on a regular basis.
Well, I think that's important too, because, you found out, and as we found out, is that it's one thing to have like a really gimmicky name or, have a little cutesy title. But it's another thing to have a message and to fit that message with the content you're creating, whether it's web, audio, video. It doesn't really make any difference. But, you have to have a strategic message. Now, since I've known you for a long time, and we met at a RV YouTube Summit, you could see the metamorphosis taking place with your video. And so let me ask you, once you kind of niched in and you really got your message down pat, how many, now you're not full-time on the road. So you do Weekend Warrior videos, you do winter videos, but how many hours as a part-time content creator do you spend building and marketing your brand?
Oh my gosh. I would be actually probably really surprised if I were to actually document all of the time that I spend. But I tell you what, I spend way more than 40 hours a week on thinking about video topics that my audience is going to be interested in, doing the research. Well, of course, then you've got to film and you've got to edit, and then you go back and you've got to add a thumbnail and a catchy title. And some of those things can take just as long as actually videoing the video or filming the video.
Right.
So I spend a lot more time than most people would even fathom.
And the thing is that what people should know is that you just didn't, take any class. You're kind of a descendant of one of the big YouTube coaches out there, Tim Schmoyer, who helped another big video channel, who then kind of shared that knowledge and sells those classes and helps other RV YouTubers. And you took that class. So not only are you working 40 hours a week, but you invested money to build your brand and to start doing concentrated marketing and specific video content for your brand. So, you took that very seriously. And now the one thing that I always see is that, it's one thing to make videos, but then when you start branding, once you start messaging, once you start, really honing in on that niche, is that, well, now you just can't do a regular video. Now it's like you have to be super aware. You have to be super strategic. And I think that's what takes so much time, because, you're trying to get some of that investment back and make money at the same time, even if it's passive income.
Yeah, that's true. There's things like storytelling that I try to now implement into my videos. And you nailed it, Scott, in the beginning when you mentioned the fact that people just really aren't going to care about me on vacation. So I like to share my journeys and my experiences out while I'm camping, because I think it's also important to give people an idea of what they can expect. But if I'm not creating a story around this vacation that I'm having, then people aren't going to be interested in watching, and they're not going to get to know me either as an individual. So there's a lot of different elements that are constantly in the forefront of my mind every time I even think about a video topic or how I'm going to present it.
Yeah. So the big question is this. So you've had a brand now for a while. And if you went full time right now on the road, could you live on the monetization that you make through YouTube? Could you live your lifestyle that you're living right now?
No, I couldn't. And That's definitely a goal of mine because I want to become full-time. When my husband retires and he doesn't have to physically be at a location for work, that's our objective. So I'm hoping that as I continue to build, and I'm seeing some momentum each month, I see a little bit more, and that is rewarding, and that's what really keeps me going.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. For a very small percentage, I would say less than 1% of all YouTubers, not just in the RV nomad category, but I mean all YouTubers. It's probably less than 1% of people that can really, not only do they take off right away, but actually can make a income where they can live the lifestyle that they want, not the lifestyle that they have to, or not the lifestyle that, well, I'm going to make a bunch of compromises and sacrifices, and yeah, I would love to buy this, but I'm going to live in this. It's a very small percentage, but I think as long as you keep moving forward and keep building the community, which I always think, and you can back me up on this if I'm wrong, but I always think it's building the community first based on your message, because the views, the subscribers, because YouTube's kind of a skewed numbers anyway, as far as subscribers versus how many people actually watch your videos, for how many people actually engage with your videos, because it's all about engagement. So if every platform is about engagement, then building the community is so far more important than actually, counting how many subscribers you have, no matter what platform that is.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting that you say that, because there was a time that the number of subscribers I had was kind of my measurement of my growth, but now that's not the top priority for me. I focus on things such as how long does my audience watch a video? So there's something called your audience retention rate. And that measurement means more to me than the number of subscribers that I have. If I can keep 60, 65, 70% of my viewers watching from the minute they hit the start play button all the way to the end, then I feel really good about that metric. And so taking a look at these type of metrics that we get, thank goodness, in our YouTube studio, we get to see some of these metrics and data, and these are the points that I focus on the most.
Yeah, I think that's so important, and I think that's one of the reasons why, I love video content, and I love creating video content. But one of the things that I found that audio, the cool thing about audio is that it's much more engaging, because I can listen to a complete podcast while I'm driving. I cannot watch a video while I'm driving. So, and so, I think, for us, I think that's one of the reasons why we're trying to do this experiment with the audio and video, because the audio, if the video doesn't do as well, it's got like a backup for the audio. And so, and I know with our other podcasts that we do, we have like a 95% retention. So the people listen to that show almost all the way through. And but I think at the end of the day, it's really about building your audience, building your community. And I'd say building your community even before you try to build your audience. And then it's hard work. So what would be your advice to people that are thinking about passive income, specifically YouTube, and hitting the road full time? What would be your advice?
Start today. Start today, because there's such a learning curve.
Yeah.
And you think you're just going to go out and start filming, you're going to be probably disappointed in the results. So the earlier you start, the better you get on camera, the better, you have more time to figure out things like quality audio. You get the chance to do a video and see how people react to it. you get to learn about your community, and you will pivot as your community grows, because you're going to grow with them and you're going to learn what they care about. And that's really what matters at the end of the day. What do they care about? Not what I care about.